podcast for you guys today. We have been talking about getting Jen on the podcast for kind of a while now, right? Hasn't it been a little while?
Mhm.
And we're meeting when the babies are in bed and we finally can talk on here. And it's late at night, kind of late for me. I always record in the morning. But this is my friend Jen, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of really cool things today. So, hi, Jen.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. I'm excited to be here. I can't believe I'm actually doing this, actually. If you remember how I was when we met, and then to think that I'm actually going through with this.
I'm really proud of you. I'm like, I can't like hardly talk. I'm like beaming. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, yeah, I don't even know. Should we start back there? Start at the beginning? Like, how did we even meet? How did we, like, you've been a friend now for, I think the whole time since, did I even have the AO scan when we first connected on
Um,
Instagram?
I was thinking about this because I think you started talking about frequencies very like in a sort of general way. I don't think you mentioned exactly how you were using them.
Okay.
Um, and then you started talking about it. But no, the way I found you was when I was going through my health anxiety phase when I thought this swollen lymph node behind my ear was gonna kill me. I just went off the rails worried, and I was Googling all the time, and I didn't trust what I was Googling and was scared every day, and I don't know, I think I went on Instagram and I typed in, like, hashtag lymph nodes or something like that, and I was
I
like,
remember
"I'm
this.
gonna I'm gonna find someone who's like me dealing with what I'm dealing with," and I think yours came up because of a supplement you had talked about for detox or whatever it was. And I don't know if I followed you right away or if I was just like looking at what you had to say. And then I remember messaging you about one of the supplements because I was like, what can I do to, I don't know, so if it was detox or if you had some kind of supplement for like lymphatic drainage or it was something
Yeah.
along those lines. And I remember one of our first messages, you said something about like, what have you done for your health or whatever or something, and I said, "Oh, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this," and you were kinda like, "Wow, like, you actually have done a lot of things, yeah." And we talked about the supplements a little bit, and then I don't know what happened that I maybe didn't order, but then you started talking about the emotion code, and again, it was one of those things where I had to watch your posts and your reels and things for a while to just get a grasp of what you were talking about,
Hmm.
and then I think one day I messaged you and we were like, "Okay, let's do it," and I booked a session for the emotion code. And I don't know how far along we got in any of our conversations before any of that happened, but I know that when I started talking to you about lymph nodes, I was like starting to already feel better about, I don't know, the stuff I was worried about.
Hmm.
And then after the session, I was like, I was like addicted. I was like, okay, I have to keep doing this. And then you posted about it all the time, and I like got even more addicted to this healing. And that's kind of how, I don't know, that's how you helped me start getting healthy.
Amazing. The power of Instagram. I'm just like, I think that's a testament to just, thinking about why people need to be sharing their journey and their story.
Yeah.
Because back then, all I knew, at least with the lymphatic stuff, I was doing lymphatic drainage work in person with people. And so that's why I was posting about the lymphatic system, because that was
Mhm,
like kind of all I knew.
mhm,
And, the holistic stuff with like parasites and
mhm.
supplements. And it was so just the general root cause stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I found the emotion code and my life just started transforming, you got to like see that from
Mhm.
your perspective.
Yeah.
And and then it was like the AO scan came in and it was like, oh my gosh, people can heal so much easier, so much more streamlined.
Mhm,
And I remember your testimonies with the emotion code. And then I remember when you got the emotion code book and you read it.
mhm.
And before you were like, I don't like to read books. And then now I feel like you've read a lot.
Yeah. Not as many as you, but I definitely keep up with the emotion code books. I just
Yeah.
got the heart code, which I bought myself, but then gave to my son and husband, and they gifted me for Christmas. Because it's like,
Oh.
what like, they're like, "What can we buy you?" And it's like, "Well, I don't have time to read in the next, like, 10 days, so here, why don't you guys wrap this up?" So I opened it, and I was like, oh my
Oh.
gosh." So, yeah, I'll start reading that one soon, and, then you sent me a book, You Can Heal Your Life by Lewis Hayes, I think it
Oh,
was,
yeah.
right? And yeah, and it's a lot easier to read. And now I'm reading the Red Light book by Mark Sloan, and I read the Methylene Blue book by Mark Sloan. And I just enjoy I don't think I'm a reader for what's the word I'm looking for?
Like
Entertainment. It's
entertainment.
for learning. Like
Yeah,
I want to read books that are teaching me something.
that's me too.
But yeah, but with kids I mean, I don't know. I just can't seem to make enough time for all the books I want to read. So I'm slow at it. But yeah, when you met me, I had read 1 or 1.5 books, and I didn't even read anything through high school because I just somehow, like, slid through without actually reading a book, and it was so hard for me to read anything. So when you were like, "Oh, you can just read the emotion code and you can learn to do it yourself," and I was just like, "I could never read that book." It did take me, like, 6 months, but and then it took me, like, another 6 months to get comfortable muscle testing.
But that's the
But
journey. I
it
mean,
it was all it was still I was still healing through all of that time, like, whether I was booking with you or whether I was practicing on myself, like, it wasn't wasted time. It just took a
yeah,
lot of time, and it doesn't have to. Someone could get through that book in just a couple days.
yeah.
But, yeah, I'm slow at things.
Well, we're all at our own pace because,
Mhm.
like, one of the examples I always think of with you, like, you inspire me so much with cooking and baking and being such a good mom, and, like, you have all these incredible qualities that I feel like I'm really slow at and behind at. Like, I'm, like, at this point in my life, and I'm thinking, "Wow, how do I not know how to do these things right?"
I never
Um,
really I never thought of it like that. Like, but you know what? You're younger than me, and you just had your first baby, and you kind of went through healing first.
yeah,
Right? And whereas I had a baby first
yeah,
and healed later. And healing, I would think, I mean, again, different for everyone, but I still think healing might be a little easier to do when you're like a single person or,
definitely.
don't have kids, right? Because you're mostly only worried about yourself at that point, right? And so
Absolutely.
then when you have kids, of course, my son was my motivation, but you have to like chisel out that time and find time for yourself
Yeah,
where you're not doing everything for them, right? When
yeah,
they're so young, it is all about them. So it is a bit more of a struggle. The emotion code though made it really easy because when I booked with you, I didn't have to change anything about my day and I didn't have to drive to appointments or schedule appointments or reschedule or pay or like not pay for appointment, pay for parking, pay for gas, those kinds of things. So, it was easy, like, we could be out at the park playing, and you'd send me a message, you'd be like, "I'm gonna start our session now," and it just, like, blew my mind that I was able to multitask like that, because that's what you have to be able to do as a mom,
yeah,
and, yeah, I want people to know that. I want people to know that if they find an emotion code practitioner, they don't have to do a single thing, especially if it's someone who works remote,
yeah,
and then if you read the book, to be able to work on yourself, like, I think like you said before too, you're like, "Oh, I just released a couple things in me and my husband today," right? And like,
yeah,
I'll be like, "Oh, my son had a rough day," and I do a quick little 5-minute session. It's just like so powerful
yeah,
to be able to have that knowledge. And as great as it is to have a practitioner who can work on you, it's even quicker when you can work on your
yeah,
kids or yourself like instantly in the moment.
yeah.
So
A
sometimes I'll
story. Oh, go ahead.
sometimes I'll even be driving and I'll like release something at like a red light. Like it's just so simple.
Yes, I love it. Well, and that reminds me, I was at the beach one time learning to surf with one of my really great friends, and she jumped off the surfboard in a way where she landed in the sand and hurt her ankle really bad. And it was like really immediate. Like she couldn't stand up on it. She was like sitting in the water. I was about to like wave down the lifeguard, and
Mm,
we kind of sat there for a second, and I thought, oh, I'm just going to release some emotion. So I released three emotion, maybe two or three from
yeah.
her ankle. And all of a sudden she goes, "Oh, I'm gonna stand up." And she stood up and it was like immediate. She goes, "What did you do?" And it was
Oh
like
god.
so she's like, "How did you do that so fast?" And it's like it really in the moment you can take power over the situation.
Yeah,
And maybe it's not everything. Maybe, if she broke her ankle, it probably would have needed more than that.
yeah,
But so much, so much can be trapped emotions. And
yeah.
I wanted to mention too for people listening, if you're trying to find an emotion code practitioner, I do have my free inner circle Facebook group with a post where tons of people have shared, I think tons of people, I need to check it again, but people have shared their booking information. So there's like a collection of practitioners there, along with, looking on Instagram and stuff like that and reading the book. Yeah, The Power of Doing It Yourself.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, or having a friend who will do it for you too, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're in a situation where, I don't know, you just need a little bit of help or something, and you can text a friend and be like, "Y I know you know how to do this. Can you
Yeah.
help me?" It's really
Yeah.
nice too to have that, like, I don't have that in anyone except you, um,
Mm,
but it just I think if you had multiple friends and all your friends were like-minded and everyone read the book and everything, there's just this collection of you who can just heal each other. Like,
yeah.
like I said, I have that in you, and it'd be so cool to have more of it. Um,
Like a whole
but
mom group. That would be really cool.
yeah, yeah. And also what I've been told too is like sometimes you have to shop around for a practitioner. I think that's just like anything, massage or whatever, right? Find someone you jive with. Everyone's work, I think, is a little bit different.
Yeah.
I was told once, it was a really nice compliment after one of my little group sessions. She said, I something like, "You have something special," and she said, "I think it's because you pray before your sessions."
Mm,
And I never really thought about the fact that maybe some other practitioners don't.
yeah.
And, for that specific person or that body that I might be working on, maybe prayer is really the most important part of it. Um, but then another pair of people might work together perfectly without prayer and just doing it as, they've learned in the book and how they've learned to do it. Like
Yeah.
I think that it varies. The modality is the same, but just how people do it. Like I said, like a massage therapist or a chiropractor or whatever, you might go to one and be like, it didn't really seem to help. And then you
Yeah.
find someone else and you're like, this is the person I'm going to stick with. So,
Yeah. And the intention behind it too. I mean, you're such a caring, thorough, just genuinely kind person. Like you really care about people. And I know there's so many people out there who don't. They really don't.
I never
And
even
maybe they
thought of it
think
like
they
that.
do, but yeah, it's important. Like it's very important. I'm glad you brought that up.
And I find with me, I think that like the work I do on myself or my family, we really do have a processing time before we see results. But I find your results are like instant, like very quick. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Oh
But
my
that's something
gosh.
I've noticed too, like whether it was back in the day, like you would finish a session, I'd read through my notes and then my nose would just start leaking everywhere.
Oh my
And
gosh.
you would say like, "That's lymphatic drainage, that's great." Or this one day after you finished a session, I every time I would walk on my feet, I would feel like I was walking on in a good way, like tingly pins and needles almost, like
Oh
not
wow.
painful, but it was like intense, like electroshock energy going through my feet, and it felt
Wow.
so good. And it was like 20, 30 minutes after a session, like all of your sessions were always so powerful in my processing symptoms and
That's
fast.
really cool.
But for when I work on my family, sometimes I'm like, I just did nothing. And then all of a sudden, like the next day, I'll be like, oh my gosh, my son is feeling better, or my husband seems lighter today, or like something. So yeah, it just
Yeah.
varies from person to person, but we can
Well,
all do it.
and I think that that's normal too, though, because I remember feeling like that. Like, did I do anything? And I would have clients who I had tons of clients who said I didn't feel anything. And then I'd ask them some questions, and then maybe a week later, they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I guess that is
Yeah.
gone," or, "Oh, yeah, I guess that is less," and you yeah, I think it's we all have that kind of, like, I felt like I did nothing. But then there would be certain sessions where I would feel a real heaviness,
Mhm.
and now looking back, I think that was the Holy Spirit. Like, I think that was because I would always pray before and
Mhm.
after my sessions and ask God to do the work.
Mhm.
And then especially when I started switching over to just prayer, like I didn't, how, so if anyone listening, if you don't know how you do the emotion code, you use muscle testing. I have a whole episode on this you can listen to kind of in the beginning. And then you swipe over the governing meridian because you want to move that emotional energy through the body. I stopped doing that portion of it and just praying and saying, "Thank you, God, that you release this trapped emotion or you reset, realign, rebalance," whatever the thing was,
Mhm.
body
Mhm.
code, belief code, emotion code.
Mhm.
And the way my body felt working on someone else would be like I was so heavy, like I was like almost slipping out of a chair.
Oh my god.
It would be like, "Whoa," like, I'd really feel it. And now I think it's because I was just would really be so in sync with praying, and so now and then it eventually just kinda became like second nature, like, I got into the zone and was like would work on, like, 30 people back to back, and then,
Yeah. Oh
it
god.
was just I could never do that now having a baby.
I know. I know. I kind of try to hold myself responsible for like one good big session a month. And
I don't do
I
that
of course
anymore. I don't even
you used to do it every week. You would do a group.
no, that's true.
But I do just the 1 month and of course my family's all in the session too. And then I still use the emotion code and muscle testing daily. But
Okay.
it's like if my son's like, "Oh," you know what? He had, like, a bump on his eyelid yesterday, and it was pink and red, and I didn't know if it was, like, a sty or if he irritated it or touched it with something dirty, I didn't know, but I got out the AO scan, and then I released something just in the moment, and that's all I did. And then
Mhm.
we sprayed a little bit of the spray on his eye, and today it was or we're 3 days in. So the first day it was less, and then today, now it's looking like it's gone, it's not itchy or anything like that.
Wow.
So, we didn't have to do a whole lot, and it got better. So, just whatever I released was one thing. It's not like I sat down and did a whole session. I just, like,
Yeah.
released one issue, and it can be that simple, or sometimes it's just muscle testing, like, will this supplement work for me today?
Yeah.
Or, you mentioned this the other day about, talking to the Holy Spirit about what to wear. I actually
Yeah.
muscle test my son. My son specifically, I don't know why, because he has so many colorful clothes, but I muscle test what the best color is for him to wear
Oh,
that
I love that.
because obviously, like you can be imbalanced with a color or an excess too much color or whatever it is, or your body's in need of a certain color. So I'll muscle test. And
Yeah.
so I'm using it every single day, whether it's muscle testing, whether it's the emotion code or whatever. But those big sessions that are sometimes like your biggest breakthrough or your biggest kind of healer, it is now just once a month about that.
Yeah.
Uh, I'd like to do more, but not in this time in my life. But before I used to book with you a couple times a month, and then I joined your groups, which
Yeah.
you had sometimes 4 or 5 a month, and I'd usually join as many as I could, and
I
there was just so much healing in that 1 to 2 year span.
It's crazy how short of a time it was.
I
And
know.
then it just kinda it transformed my life so much where then I just went full force with the AO scan and was like, because that's so empowering too, which, I mean, we could talk about that for hours as well, where it's like this subscription that yeah, I talk about it all the time. If you've listened to the podcast, you've heard me talk about it, but it just my life is so different now, and I know it was the emotion code was the very first thing I found, and it was just like
Mhm,
this catalyst that just
mhm,
so much so much change, like and I feel like I don't even recognize myself 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even a year ago, I'm like,
mhm.
"Who was I?"
I bet you the emotions opened you up to the AO scan too, because you know how
Yeah,
we have those blocks
yeah,
that either block us from people or a thing or a path or something like that. So I
Yeah,
bet as you were working on yourself, that's probably one of the things that like led you to find the tech, right? Because you
I
were
think
already
so.
looking, you were looking for things. And you said the same thing with the emotion code that you one day it popped into your head to like search Christian healing or something like, right? Because you were doing the medical stuff and it wasn't working. And then that's how
Mhm.
you found the emotion code book.
Exactly.
No one told you about the book, hey? Like you actually found it for yourself.
Yeah, no one told me about it. It was, Christian energy healing, which is so
Oh,
random, and there's, like, hardly anything on Instagram that says that.
yeah.
And this one woman popped up who said she was a Christian because I was so leery about energy work back then. Like, I
Yeah.
had been exposed to new age stuff and was, like, really unsure and didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I was even afraid of crystals back then.
Really?
And yeah, the stuff that we were taught and without critical thinking skills is wild. But
Mhm.
I searched it and then saw this woman was doing sessions and she was booked out for months. So I think it was like in April or May when I was searching. And I was like, I can't wait till September to get work done. Like, I need this yesterday.
Yeah.
And so I looked up, well, how did she learn how to do this? Because I want to know how to do whatever it is and research it myself. Because I was obsessed with reading for education back then.
Yeah.
And I was like, any ounce of time I had in between clients, I'd be reading a book like, "How do I heal? How do I heal? What am I supposed to do?" And I just searched discover healing because that's what the emotion code was. And I saw on their site that I could get certified. I think it was like $1,200. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I can't really afford that, but I'm going to do it. And I did it that day. I
You're
signed
wild
up.
like that. And the
I,
AO scan, you were like that too. The first day you're like, I have it now.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in desperation and your body hurts so bad and you're just like it's kinda like as soon as you feel that ounce of hope and you feel like it was very clear God led me to it too.
Mhm.
It was like, "Okay, God's never steered me wrong before, like, and money is just money, so let's go."
Mhm. Mhm.
And then, I flew through the course and I had so many clients that were coming in that I was able to just practice on anyone who would let me.
Yeah.
And it was so profound to do the sessions in person where someone's face would turn bright red when we released anger, or someone would go, um, like we'd release an emotion and we'd feel this wind and they'd go, "Did you feel that?" Like, "Whoa, what did you just
Mhm.
do?" And we'd feel the energy leave and we'd see things change, like literally like atrophied tissue, like plump up with circulation, like before our eyes. It was just crazy.
Mhm. I
So then
know.
I,
I to be able to like physically touch because you worked with muscles and fascia and
yeah,
like the physical body already, to be able to like, I don't know, like a before and after in the moment with
yeah.
the emotion code. Yeah.
It was wild.
Cool.
It was crazy. It's so
That's
cool.
cool.
I don't know if I even, like, was able to articulate that on social media, how amazing it was, but I
Mhm.
tried my hardest, and that's, like, when like you said, all the posts that I did, that was in an effort 'cause then I got all this pushback from Christians, like, my own extended family, like, I remember meeting this one person for, like, breakfast or lunch or something, and I was so excited to tell her about it, and I was explaining it, and I was just, like, on this high, like, "You'll never believe it, like, we have trapped emotions, and you can muscle test, and it's awesome." And I have the scanner I think it was by the time I had the scanner, maybe right before it,
Yeah.
I don't know, and she, like, literally started backing up from me, like I had the plague, and she's like, "I need to go home," and she wouldn't even hug me goodbye, and
Oh
then I
my
didn't
god.
hear from her for, like, months and months and months, and then she was, like, saying she was praying for me and, like, super scared. It was like so I started making all these posts trying to demystify it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I was never afraid of energy, but I know growing up, we like if you went to fairs or carnivals and stuff like that, I was always told not to go to psychics because that was
Okay.
not allowed. But I was never really taught that energy was bad or crystals were bad. But it was something about that the psychics and the
Mhm.
telling of your future and which still to me right now doesn't sit right that someone can tell you what your future holds because quite honestly, God's the only person who knows what it's going to be, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, that part's a little weird, but maybe I just don't know. enough about it, but that's so wild. It's so cool though that you had people to work on because that's where it's so, like, different with you and me, and I also didn't take the course, right? Um, but I had my family right here to work on, and I just had to learn through them, and you helped me, like, so much too. I remember once I was like, "I just released, like, 40 trapped emotions from my husband," and I was like thought it was just, like, the wildest thing, but then, like, as I went on and on and on, I was like, "Maybe, like, a little less is better, like, maybe we shouldn't go so crazy," but
Well,
I
how
would
did
just
he respond after that? Do you remember?
well, okay, so I didn't tell him I was working on him for so long,
Yeah,
right? Because
I
he's
remember.
so close-minded. Um, but there were days where I think for the most part he gets migraines after sessions. So somehow there's probably some kind of buildup that that's just like his processing symptom, I
Yeah.
think. Because I'll notice a lot after a big session or something that even feels heavy for me. Like if you just look down at the paper, what you wrote down, sometimes you go, whoa, like this poor person. That was a
Yeah.
lot, you know? And so sometimes the next day he would just be more, um, more touchy, more angry-ish, like, just kinda, like, back off, let him finish processing, or I would notice migraines. So that's kinda what I would notice in him, and then after that was done, you would just see and feel, like, a more lightness in his presence.
Mm,
But everyone's so different too. Like,
yeah.
processing can be physical, I have, when I process, I usually go into a bit of a what's the word? It's not obsession, it's not panic, it's, paranoia. I get paranoid about
Oh,
things.
wow.
And I've now been able to figure out that I'm processing, right? Like, I'll be like, because especially with the AO scan too, if you're releasing just listening to inner voice, sometimes it doesn't click that you've, like, had a session essentially, right? Because,
Yeah.
you do that through the emotion code, and then you kind of forget that the inner voice releases as well. And so I'll muscle test myself and I'll be like, "Am I processing any trapped emotions or trapped trauma right now?" And if I get a yes, I'm like, "Okay, that's why I'm paranoid about," I'll get paranoid about the craziest things, like just my house falling apart or I don't know, just like like
Yeah.
with the cold weather right now, I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, the snow's gonna get in and create mold." And like I'll just start worrying about things that could happen, but just don't not really are gonna,
Yeah.
like, and then I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm going a little crazy right now." Am I processing? And when you can realize that though, it's not such a bad thing. Like, when you know what's going on, you're not scared of it anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of people, I feel that, like, when they process from the emotion code, a lot of people just feel lighter after, or they'll have pain relief. It's not always a bad thing. Um, Maybe it
It's like
depends what
the
kind of trauma
burden.
you're carrying or, like,
Yeah.
how much of it or how far along you are in releasing it. I noticed with me working with you, um, as I went on and on and on, the processing became less. Like, it's like
Yeah.
my body kind of got used to things and didn't have to work so hard to be releasing stuff. And I could release things without having any negative processing, but it was never none of the processing. This might all sound a little bit negative if you're like, "Oh, I had a migraine after a session," or I might have, might feel a little angry the next day. Nothing that I ever dealt with the emotion code was ever as bad as any of my chronic pain symptoms,
Mm,
the fear of doctor's appointments. Like, I never once felt, um I was just never, like, in that vulnerable or worried state after a session because I knew I had just healed.
yeah.
So, it wasn't like an unknown, it was like, I know what's happening. I know stuff's releasing. I know I'm getting better, and I know that after this processing happens, I will be I will have leveled up or something,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
That's like it's like the burden is lifting every time. And it's like the beauty of holistic healing, where for the most part, most things in holistic healing are only for our good. They're not gonna, it's not
Mhm.
like the medical system where there is side effects and where they're paid to make sure every drug has side effects or it won't go on the market. Like we really don't have to fear anything I mean, emotion code and AO scan are like the two most non-invasive things I think anyone could ever do.
Gentle. I remember the quote always that you said, "You can't hurt anyone with frequencies,"
Yeah.
'cause honestly, we're exposed to the bad frequencies all the time, right?
Mhm.
You can't so when you said that, you can't hurt anyone with the balancing frequencies, right? You can
Yeah.
only heal with the balancing frequencies.
Yeah. And our
Mhm,
body's so brilliant too. Like God made us so just innately smart where our brain, if we start sending like people worry, they're like, well, what if I send frequencies for like men issues to the woman's body? Like, is
mhm,
that going to cause something wrong? And it's like,
mhm,
no, the brain knows it doesn't need that or it does need that. So it's going to filter it out for you and it's not going to do anything harmful.
mhm,
Versus if you take a hormone that's going to only be good for a man, but then a woman takes it, there
mhm,
are consequences to that. Like it's so different
mhm.
than
Yeah,
anything. And I think we're kind of not, I guess, brainwashed, but like programmed to really view everything in that way. Because
no.
of our, I mean, almost like maybe more of a trauma response if we've had problems from the medical system.
Mhm,
Um, yeah,
yep. Yeah, you can't like, we're exposed to bad energy and bad frequencies on a daily basis. We don't most of us don't even know it or recognize it. I mean, you and I would recognize it, right? If you
yeah,
pop on the radio and hear something, we're like, "Yep, didn't need to hear about that," you know? But most people are watching crime shows or listening to crime podcasts or, I don't know, listening to a really negative conversation out there, whatever, we're exposed. So, there's no need to be afraid of the good or releasing the energy of the bad or balancing the frequencies of the bad
hmm
ones with the good ones. That is I don't know how you explain it to someone, but it's so necessary. Our whole world I don't like to say this because it kind of the word kind of sounds a bit wrong, but it's like the world's kind of out to get us in a way.
it
Like
is.
to be able to recognize the things we need to stay away from and find a balance to balance the things that we can't get away from, like
Yeah,
the EMFs and stuff like that, right? There you can't go anywhere without being exposed. So what can you do to balance it? Is it the AO
yeah,
scan? Is it stuff you're buying, tech you're buying, or um, protective things, or like whatever it is, right? There has to be a way. I just like I can't think about living life in a way that you're not trying to combat these things. And I know so many people that aren't, and we really brought up this at Christmas with some of the gifts that we chose to buy people, and we bought, um, some shower filters for people for Christmas,
wow.
and it's just, like, probably just seems like such a lame gift, but when you're reading the box and it's like, "It filters out this and this and this and this," and there's a list of, like, 25 things, it's like, do you not look at that and go, "Wow, like, that's in my shower water? I shower in that every day. I wash my hair in that. I wash my hands in that. It gets in my eyes. It gets in my mouth." Like,
Oh,
and now I have this shower filter that's gonna filter it all out. And, like, to me, that's just such a part of my life is, like, where can I improve these things that are bad?
yeah.
I don't know if that makes
It
sense or not.
makes perfect sense. And it's
Mhm,
sad. It's really sad to know that people are just it has to be some kind of choice that they're choosing to ignore it,
mhm,
or they really just haven't had anything. I thank God every day that I got to such a low point with my health
mhm,
and my emotions and my mental health
mhm,
because I don't know how far I would have searched if life would have just been dandy. Like if I didn't have the
mhm,
health problems,
mhm.
would I be where I am today? Probably not. And
No.
so, how many people end up going their whole life poo-pooing this stuff, and then their end of life is so hard, or they end up with these really terrible diagnoses, and they have these battles with chronic stuff, and the medical system just takes
It
them so
doesn't
far and doesn't work out.
yeah. Well, I think the at least the people I know, what I seem to have picked up is sort of this idea of like, well, I don't do that and I'm fine, right?
Yeah.
I just shower in regular water, I'm fine. And it's just, yeah, you're fine until you're not.
Yeah.
And for you and you were much younger, and well, I was young too, but like I went through different stages of my health. Worst being around after I had my son, 31, 32. Um, but just I don't know. If I would have healed somewhere along the line when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have been so unwell in my early 30s. So some people, yeah, it might take them till they're 50 or 60 to be like, "Oh, like I feel rough now," right?
Mhm.
And that's why when I gift people things, especially at Christmas, it's just a time where I can try to teach people. And you have to be so gentle sometimes with
Yeah.
what you gift because it can seem overwhelming to people. Um, but I always try to make it like a learning thing, whether it's like a cleaning product exchange, like, "This is what I use. I wonder if you'd like it." Something like that. It can be small. The shower filters were kind of a bigger deal this year because it was like, I wanna buy less, I wanna wrap less, I wanna give more if I can, and the shower filter was a really I just thought, like, that's such a great start for
Yeah.
anyone,
And
or
it takes such a burden off of the body to not have all just the chlorine, just the
Mhm,
chlorine.
yeah, but again, if you've spent your whole life not caring about pool water or shower water or whatever it is, one day these things they're just all gonna catch up to you. They just
Yeah.
will regardless, and for you and I, it was when we were younger.
Mhm.
But thankfully, we can raise our kids healthier, and
Yeah.
that's such a gift, like you said. If we would have been feeling great up until now, we wouldn't have made the changes that we made.
Yeah. And
Mhm,
then I see so much like when you're talking about the shower filter, it made me think of like, well, then people get skin cancer and blame it on the sun, they blame it on these other
mm,
things and don't correlate it to a lifetime of toxins in their water and a lifetime of fluorescent lighting on their skin and a
mhm,
lifetime like all these things are just building up, building up, building up, and
right,
it's preventative. It's
mhm,
it's like it's just like exercise. It's not like you're gonna go to the gym once and feel this huge, massive difference. It's like every day you need to move your body basically for the rest of your life if you want the benefits and to prevent
mhm,
total deterioration of your muscles.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
drinking water. It's like you could probably go a certain amount of time without drinking water, but then and say you feel fine until you're totally dehydrated.
and your cells are all clumped together and dehydrated and all dried out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Lost my train of thought.
Well, I think this might be a good time to segue into this topic we were talking about before.
Oh, yeah,
We were saying, how can you trust the medical system
yeah,
when you say you trust God or you still believe in God?
yeah. I know it came to me one day, and I think I messaged you about it, and you were like, "I've been thinking about this too."
Yeah.
I just saw so much of it in the people in my life, and these people are people who pray and go to church. You know what? I don't go to church because I haven't found one that feels as good as my relationship with God. I don't know. I have to shop around and find a church, but a lot of people I know go to a church, and if I remember the way I was growing up, you just went to church. It's like it didn't matter if you liked the church, it didn't matter if you liked the priest, it did nothing mattered, you just went, and I don't want it to feel like that, but a lot of people in my life go to church, and sometimes it makes me feel like maybe they think they're a little bit better because they take the time out to go spend time with God, whereas I just spend time with God in the comfort of my own home. Anyways, whole side thing, but these people really do make a point to put God first. They take the time out to go to church, get ready to church, haul the kids to church, not easy. And they do this. And I believe that they believe in God, and I believe that they pray and want to live through God. But then they live through the medical system like they're relying on their entire health
Yeah.
through doctors. And it just came to me one day and it like just I don't know, I couldn't stop thinking about it. and you can't really call someone out for it, so you can't really say anything about it.
Yeah.
So, it was just kinda lingering in my mind, and I was like, "I know Kate will know what I'm talking about here."
Yeah. You voice memoed me and I was like, "Oh, this needs
Yeah.
to be talked about."
Yeah. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
do and I do know there's amazing nurses out there. I know there's doctors out there with open minds. I know that there's life-saving things out there. I know all of this, and I do believe in that, and I know that it's there if we need something. Um, but I just can't anymore after, like you and I, what we've been through, the years of pain, the years of medication testing, seeing what they do, what the options are, what they're trained to prescribe you, trained to the answers they're trained to give you or treat you like one size fits all when everyone is so biologically different.
Yeah.
It just I can't get on board with, um I don't think you can believe in both at the same time. I think you can utilize the medical system, but I don't think you can put your your health and your kids' health and your life in their hands,
It
you know?
it yeah, it's almost like putting God says in the Bible, "Don't have any other gods before me." And we're not supposed to have idols. And so when you think about the different things that people idolize, like money or possessions, materialistic things, another person, a lot of people have idolized doctors.
Mhm.
And they it's almost like a form of religion. I think you said that. I think you said that in one of your voice memos. It was like it's like more of a religion. Maybe I don't know if that was just part of our conversation or that just came to mind right now, but it was like a religion. Like, who
Yeah,
do you turn to when you're panicking? The doctor. Run to the hospital.
yeah.
And it's what if we switched it and first we ran to God and we prayed and asked him. And it doesn't even take long. And then utilize the tools that he's given us
Mhm,
and use wisdom and actually go to the hospital, actually go to the doctor when it's really necessary or we feel God telling us to.
mhm,
But
mhm.
you're right, it's that first, like, guttural instinct that most people just it's like, "Go to the doctor, go to the doctor." It's like there's no pause, there's no breathing, there's no asking God, there's no peace. It's anxiety.
It's believing that a doctor, because of their medical standpoint, that they know your body better than you do. And reading the
Yeah.
emotion code, you start to become intuitive and understand your own body, and you can muscle test, so you can get your own answers the majority of the time. And so to run to someone who's gonna treat you like the last 10 people they saw, who are completely different, their weight, their lifestyle, their trauma that's trapped in the body, every single person is different. But yet, if you all come in with a cough, they're gonna treat you all the same. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And
yeah.
it just blows my mind. And then taking your kids in there to, I don't know, for they call them in the States well visits. Here they just call them 1 year checkups. Um, but the thought that, you know, you go there and you get shots or whatever it is, most people just walk in there and do it because it's what you do. And
Mhm.
I don't know. It's to me, it has become more scary to go there than to just not.
Yeah,
I
and just do what you can at home
Yeah,
and know that it's there as a backup.
yeah.
I mean, we could even talk about this with our birth stories, but it's you can yeah, keep talking. You're you're going good places with this.
Well, I'm just thinking about how many people take their kids in, say they get their shots without knowing what's in them, and their kids might be forever changed after that appointment. It's just scary. And they're just not gonna know your body the same way that you are. I have to say though, like getting some either wisdom from God or intuition or being able to muscle test, those are the things that are going to empower you. And those are going to be the things that will lead you to believe that you can make the best choices for your own health and for your kids, and you don't need someone with a medical degree to help you all the time. But I have met some doctors along the way. Most of them were terrible. Some of them were really open minded. I even met an ENT one day who taught me this, and it might be a good tip. Um, I dealt with dizziness for quite a while, and for me, I think it was just stress and trauma. But all my tests, of course, came back normal, as they always do, right? And then they send you off with no solution. But it was a phone call conversation, and he said, when you get dizzy, sometimes you do this thing where you kind of try to balance your body and you stop what you're doing, and you're like, oh, I can't bend over, I can't move, I'm too dizzy, I have to hold on to something. And he's like, if you can just try to continue doing what you're doing while you're dizzy, you'll be training your mind almost to train your mind out of the dizzy. So,
Wow.
if you're mopping the floor or something like that, right? And you're like, oh, I'm so dizzy. And you think you need to hold on to the counter and you just stop and you need to widen your eyes and search around you and wait for it to go leave the body. If you are able, keep mopping. And I
Wow.
remember I had already met you by this time. So I already like knew about kind of like mindset stuff. And I said to him something like, almost like retraining your mind, saying to your mind, I'm not dizzy right now.
Yeah.
Th this isn't happening actually. I'm okay. My vision is restored, or my balance is restored, or whatever it is. And he like nodded on the phone, like I could hear him. He's like, "Exactly. You just tell it's like you're telling your mind you're not. You're not busy."
Yeah.
And then we ended the call something about, he was like, if you are still dealing with this or whatever, I have a lot of friends in the holistic side that deal with some ear issues, um, in a I don't know, he was talking about sugar, the correlation between, like, balanced ears and sugar, and it was a holistic group of his friends, and I just got off the phone with him, and I just thought, like, "Okay, so he's an ENT specialist, but he's open-minded, he has holistic doctor friends, and this is the kind of doctor I think you want.
Yeah.
They're the kind of people you wanna know. Someone who'll
Yeah.
listen to you, and someone who will talk with you, not down to you,
Yeah.
and that's not a lot of doctors, though, I'll tell you, honestly. The amount of, people I saw for migraines and stuff, the, neurologists, they're just so terrible and big-headed
Yeah.
and everything like that, but there are good people in the medical system. They're just
There
rare,
are.
and there are people who are willing to step out of sort of the medical training and give you holistic or natural advice.
Yeah.
It's just that it's rare, and I don't know, but just going back to like, how do you how do you trust someone in the medical field? I think one way that you can learn to maybe trust a doctor or physician is if they're talking with you and asking you questions and listening to you. And I don't think that happens all that much. I think you walk in, you list off your symptoms, and they go, "Well, we can do this or we can do this." And then you nod your head and you go, "Okay." And then that's it.
Yeah.
Then they send you off for the blood work or the x-ray or to go fill your prescription, and that's the end of it. And there's no
Yeah.
conversation about anything. And that's the kind of person I can't trust anymore. And that's still the kind of people are trusting.
Yeah. It's really wild.
Mhm.
And I think, people chalk it up to, well, they're busy, they have so many people to see. It's just they know best. And they just keep telling themselves that. And
Mhm.
I do want to jump in real quick and just say none of this is medical advice. Go to your doctor. This is not a preventative, a cure, or the treatment for any of your diseases. Use common sense and, you know, that whole disclaimer. But yeah, I was listening to this. Uh, there's been these people in, what is her name? Issy Iganegba. I think I said her last name right. She was talking about how when people in Africa have a problem happen who believe in God, they don't call 911 because there is no 911. Like if a kid falls out of the window and is majorly hurt, they start praying and they believe there's going to be a miracle.
Oh.
There's no 911. There's no one to call. There's just your belief in your prayer, and they see miracles happening every day. And
Mm.
not to say you shouldn't call 911 if someone falls out of a window, But that just came to mind, like, when things happen, who are you turning to first, right? Like, where is your faith truly? Where is your hope truly?
Mhm.
Who is your source? And, I think it's something that we can almost use as a crutch too, to kind of, like, fall back on, like, like, it takes the pressure off of having to think and having I remember that's why one of the reasons why I didn't wanna be a practitioner anymore is because I felt like everyone who came to me, or a big chunk of the people who came to me, wanted me to do the healing for them, and
Mhm.
it was like they wanted me to be responsible, but they didn't wanna take responsibility.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
people like you and I who are, like, so excited to be educated and learn and take that responsibility, I think that's rare too.
Mhm.
And you need to learn to love that, and you need to learn to step into that responsibility to be able to stop trusting the medical system with your life too. Like,
Yeah. Well, I
there's
get why
this
people want you to heal because you do amazing work. But also, when this is another thing too, throughout, like, my chronic illness and pain and stuff, to look back now, all I can kind of think about is the answer was always within me. Whether it was,
mm,
like, coming from God or whether it was coming from an organ crying out or an energy that was blocked, it and it took, you teaching me and doing it to release these things, but the answer was just stuck in the body, whether it was the mind or whether it was an organ or, like I said, it was in there. So now when I see somebody who's suffering, I just think the answer's in the body.
yeah.
It's in there. We just need to get it out somehow, you
That
know?
is such a that needs to be a quote. That is
But it
so
just makes
powerful.
perfect sense. Like, and that's why you go to a medical doctor and they're never gonna say that. They're never gonna say, "Well, how much trauma do you have? Have you ever, what was your childhood like?" And we don't even know half the trauma that we've dealt with. We think it's all big things, and it can you can walk into the door and hit your head and be just, like, mad, and that can happen to anyone at any point in your life all day long,
Yeah,
and you can trap that anger, that pain from that silly little thing that happens all the
yeah.
time, or
And
stubbing
then
your toe.
it'll affect you forever until you
Yeah.
release it.
Yeah. Yeah, the answer is it's in there, and again, of course, there's different, like, severities, there's different illnesses and ailments and stuff like that, and I think more people will take more time to heal. I know you once said about my husband too, his healing has been slow. And it has, and yours actually was very fast, I would say. And if I was looking at you, like me and my husband, I'm in the middle, he's definitely the slow one, but you were very, very fast to heal. And I even watched it, like I said, in real time. We talked about this. You started with the emotion code, and um, then you got the AO scan, and then something completely shifted. And then all of a sudden, one day your face was so slimmed down,
Oh, wow.
and you did like a side by side of like an old reel and a
Yeah.
recent reel or something like that. And there were comments, and I was thinking it too. I don't know if I commented or if I read someone else's, but it was going through my mind that you were becoming your most authentic self. You had released so
Mm,
much that you were able to be the person who you're supposed to be and who you are. And then you started talking about the things that mattered most to you. That I think you had one reel that went viral or something like that where you were talking about God, and it was like kind of super controversial, but it went viral. And then all of a
yeah.
sudden, I remember your face had just like slimmed down, and that was one of the things that I learned later too. The highest frequency that your body can resonate with is authenticity, right? You would think it's
Yeah.
love, but it's actually authenticity of yourself.
So incredible.
Mhm.
It's like that confirms exactly what you had just said about how the answer is within you. Like, God knit us each together uniquely and perfectly in a way that our body knows how to heal. Like, if you get a cut, you don't worry that the cut's not going to heal. The cut is going to seal up, and there'll be scar tissue, and you'll restore. And we forget we have, and most of us weren't even taught. I remember, when I first learned about all this stuff, I didn't know about the subconscious mind. So learning about the subconscious mind was like this key that unlocked this door, like, whoa, this is the majority of our intelligence. So we do know we know everything that needs to happen. We know what's missing. We know the trauma that's happened.
Yeah.
We just need a way to access that, which is muscle testing.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, it's really cool. I forgot about that with the authenticity. And I remember, I think you even maybe messaged me or voice memoed me about that. And you were like, I think that's what it is.
Yep. Yep.
It's really cool to look back and it almost makes me sad to look at how much I had been hiding
Mhm.
without even realizing it. And it manifested in the puffiness and the
Mhm.
excess weight and like, you can see it, like, it was the body's way of hiding. It
Yep.
was like and I didn't wanna ruffle any feathers. I never wanted to offend anyone. I never wanted to argue with anyone. I never and now it's like, I feel like everything I post is like, "This is what I believe." I'm coming in, like, ready for battle, like, "This is what I believe. This is what I'm saying. You can't argue with it." But, I mean, I'll have debate with people, but so different, so different.
Yep.
It's like,
Yep.
you can agree with me or not, but I just want people to heal, and I don't wanna hide behind anything now, and it's all this work is just so transformative.
Mhm.
And your transformation, I mean, there's so many things I could say. I think you asked me one time, like, to write you a message about was it, like, your before and after of healing with the emotion code?
Yeah, like,
And
just
I
kind of
felt like I couldn't stop. I was like, "And this, and you're just so amazing." It was like I
Oh.
couldn't stop yeah, it was a really long message, sorry.
I had a really hard time just remembering who I was when I messaged you that first direct message about lymph nodes or whatever,
Oh, right.
and then to today, and yeah, I still have stuff to work on 100%, but
We all
there
do.
has been there has been so many breakthroughs, and even the authenticity thing too. I was thinking about how this past year I had to get my driver's license picture done, so it's 4 years in between, and my last picture was just my eyes were, like, drooping on the sides, my cheeks were insanely puffy. I almost looked like I had a sort of, like, almost a cone-shaped head the way
What?
that I had. I just kinda had, like, that normal forehead, but then I just puffed in the
I
cheeks,
think did
and
you send me this before and after? I feel like you sent
I
me
did.
this. Yeah.
They're like, "You don't even look like the same person," and it's not
No.
like I noticed it in the mirror either through all this time. But I looked at the old one and I looked at the new one and my new and of course they're pretty blurry and they're like black and white. So it's not like complete detail, but to glance at them, you're like, she was miserable, unhappy, unhealthy, struggling, like
Mhm.
carrying so much trauma. And this other person has dimples. And even in a black and white picture, I felt like I had like a sparkle in my eye. And I
Yeah.
had like you could see definition in my face and my bone structure and stuff. And is just different, and I still don't even believe I'm 100% there with authenticity. I mean, I'm still private Instagram page, and I still don't post myself or my kids or anything like that, so and I might one day, and I like, whatever, I'm where I am, but to see that happen to you, and then it happened to me as well, just I
Yeah.
know it sounds really silly to be like, "My face is skinny, and that means I'm authentic." There really is that, like, connection.
Yeah.
So, it is a really big deal, and I think a lot of people too, like, a lot of especially, like, this day and age, people making that gut and brain connection and working on their cortisol levels and stuff, that can also be like a stress face, a cortisol face. But
Mhm.
you and I both had been working on that for so long, but I think
Mhm.
still had that roundness in our face. Not necessarily puffy, not necessarily unhealthy, not necessarily a bad thing, but the authenticity, I think, like, slimmed us both down. And I
Yeah.
might go even slimmer if the more I get towards that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so right, and it's such a powerful observation and to share that with people because I don't think people realize, like, these things, the people pleasing, the hiding behind whatever walls we put up is impacting our lymphatic system, our skin, our
Mhm,
fat, our hair, our eyes,
mm,
everything, our organs.
mhm,
It's literally like our mitochondria. Like And then when you start learning about quantum biology and how our mitochondria are these little like antenna sensors, and there's quantum communications happening, like the stuff in our feet are talking to the stuff in our head and then talking to the stuff in our liver. And it's like everything knows. It's like we're so intelligent. We're
Mhm,
so intelligent that, of course, like now it makes sense. Like, of course, authenticity would have to do with our body,
mhm,
but we're not
mhm.
taught that. No one's talks about this.
No, no, we are just taught to carry, and it's not even, like, my son being in school, I think sometimes, like, what are they teaching these kids? This is nothing valuable, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know what I learned in school, and I know what I learned as an adult, and I really wish, someone would've taught me this stuff earlier. So, it's nice to know it now so I can teach it to my kids, even if it's just subtle, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's just them watching me do these things or whatever. It's so important. This stuff is so important. Your life is gonna be so much different if you grow up knowing this stuff
Hmm.
than whatever we were taught as kids. I mean, you were homeschooled, so I know that you learnt great valuable things, but for people like me, my husband, to be public schools, we both and up until high school, we're both like, "I don't remember what I learned. Like,
Yeah.
what do I use that I learned?" And even, like, my husband will say to my son, like, we were doing math one day, and he was like, "There's something called a calculator. You'll probably have one on your phone. This isn't that important. Don't worry about it." And it's like,
Yeah.
we're taught that math is so incredibly important, but geez, I've rarely used any of the math that I learned in school
I
because I can use
haven't
a
used it.
calculator. And
Yeah.
and and the big math, maybe you're talking about, like, having an accountant or something like that, you're gonna hire someone to do stuff like that. So, like, you're
Exactly.
you're good. You're good. You, like, go learn the things that matter. Go learn about spirituality or your, relationship with God, or learn to color, or learn to jump or hike. Like, this is why I'm so passionate about trying to get my son homeschooled
Yeah.
and all of that, because I just, with all the healing, with all the learning, about the world and the government and having more faith in God, you start to look at what we're taught and how it all just did doesn't make much sense, right?
Yeah. It
So,
like kind of opens your eyes to how
mhm,
almost how by design it already is
mhm,
against us, and
mhm,
how, I mean, that's why people say you exit the matrix.
yep,
And I think when you get into the energy quantum side of it, you really exit the matrix on a whole nother level. It's like you see it from the energetic point of view, and then
mm,
when you start seeing it from the spiritual point of view, and you're like, oh my word, like it's crazy.
I know.
It is
Yeah.
crazy. Um, there was something else I was gonna say when you were talking about all that, but, um oh, I wanted to say when you said how your husband's healing journey was slow, he hasn't even been doing it actively himself, though. Like, that's all you.
Yeah, well, the thing is, there's someone on Instagram, and if they ever listen to this, they'll know who they are. They told me with the homeschooling thing, with, just kind of like stepping out of, like, the things in life that are, you just do it
Mhm,
versus maybe, like, living your own life and doing things differently. She said, "Ask God to soften your husband's heart." And ever since she said that, I pray that for him. And
mhm.
it's so powerful. And now we're kind of at this spot that we're, I think, transitioning into homeschooling. It's just I kind of have to get out of my own way a little bit. And the holidays don't help because we're kind of stuck in this, like, little magical world where everything is just festive right now. And I don't want to think about school. But yeah, I prayed that prayer, and he had to have had blocks somewhere along the way. And releasing trauma, whether it's just little things at a time or big sessions, they're all just a part of the stepping stones of getting him to his most authentic self. And he might be, yeah, slow at it. And yeah, it would be completely a different thing, I think, if he was working on himself or if he was booking appointments with practitioners or whatever. I suppose I never really thought of it that way, but I just do what I can because I know it's all powerful.
I think that can bring a lot of hope to a lot of women or a lot of spouses in general. Like if you're on the side of it where you're really wanting breakthrough with your spouse or a
Mhm,
child or someone in your family or even extended family, that prayer specifically, praying for someone's heart to soften.
mm,
And then just in addition to that, for their eyes to be open and their ears to be open,
mhm,
and for them to have understanding wisdom from God.
mhm,
I mean, there's no alternative. You will see things change.
mhm,
It's just, I mean, God is a big God and He wants us to ask those things.
mhm,
And He leads us to these tools like the emotion code and the AO scan, but to amplify the power of anything holistic or anything energetic or anything you can possibly use, amplify it with prayer.
mhm,
I mean, I could we could go on and on about stories after story about prayer and just how powerful it is.
mhm,
But I mean, I wanted to say too, you've sent me photos of your sweet little family over the years, and something I noticed in the most recent photo where your husband had steaks, which someday I'm going to come over to your house for steaks, and your husband can make them. And then our husbands will become friends, and that'll be the
mhm.
end of it. We'll have to both live in the same state. Anyways, um, he looks different. He
Oh my
looks so healthy,
I
and
haven't
he
told you that.
looks so bright, like he's just a new person.
Okay, I haven't told you this because it was just very recent. He just told me yesterday he lost 40 pounds since
Whoa,
last year. Yeah.
holy cow.
So apparently he like I don't know. We're not the kind of family that just keeps a scale in the bathroom, hey? And he has one and I didn't even know that. And
That's amazing.
he wrote his number down about this time last year and he weighed himself and he told me he lost 40 pounds in the last year. And
Wow.
it's so funny because, like, went right to my head, and I was like, "Well, I've been scanning and optimizing you every day, and I've been working on you at least once a month." So I'm sitting there thinking, like, "This was me." Because you're right, he isn't really doing anything on his own. So, yeah, that's weird that you say that because when you live with someone, you don't notice these things either because 'cause you're just looking at them every day, and they're just who they are every day. Um But yeah, and then ever since he mentioned it, actually, I've been able to notice it now too. And we got one of those vibrational plates for Christmas.
Nice.
And he got on that the other day too and started doing that. And I was like, yeah, like there's less of you. So
Wow.
yeah.
That is crazy.
So weird you mentioned that. Cause yeah, that was something I was gonna tell you about too. It was new information.
Wow. Man, and there's just like, yeah, anyone listening, just start doing stuff. And I want to say the emotion code, they talk about how you shouldn't work on someone without their permission, yada, yada, yada.
Hmm.
If you're going to pray for someone, you can pray for emotions to be released. If you're going to pray for someone, you can scan them. I mean, that's what I've heard from the creator of the AO scan
Hmm.
firsthand. Um, there's no way you can hurt someone. The only worst thing that can actually happen is nothing happens. But
Hmm.
I've never ever experienced that.
Yeah.
I mean, when we're working on children and pets and people like your husband who don't even know what's going on and we see these results, it's undeniable.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's so cool.
Yeah. I still like to ask people's permission, but
Yes.
usually it's because they're not close. This
Yeah.
is this is my partner, these are my kids, these are,
When
whatever or
it's
like.
affecting you immediately like that,
Mhm.
that's really what I mean is like,
Yeah. 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 I
absolutely.
think it's safe and it's if you're willing to take your time out of your day to work on someone, that's that's like how can you
Such
serve
a
other
gift.
people through God or how
Yeah.
can you use your gifts to help or heal or help push someone along or something like that. Because I think about The Emotion Code, and like anyone can buy the book. It's affordable. I've even told people sometimes when they're in a tough spot, go to the library and find it. Borrow
Oh,
it from
yeah.
someone. It doesn't necessarily have to cost you anything if you're able to find it somewhere else. And
And
this
he has free YouTubes on Discover Healing where
oh, does he?
I think he explains even how to do it on YouTube for free.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, yeah, it's just like if you can use this little powerful tool and help someone, why wouldn't you? It does take your time. So it is, usually you're doing this for your family or friends or people you really love. But the cool thing is if you branch out and you meet someone new that you really want to help, you can too. And with the AOScan too. Both things are like a worldwide, I can help you wherever you are thing. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I can help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so do we want to touch on our free birth experiences at all, or should we save that for another podcast episode?
Whatever you want.
Okay. What did we want to talk about that? Just like our experience?
Um,
It feels kind of far away to me, honestly, like it was like forever ago.
I know. Well, the difference between us is you planned yours and I didn't plan mine.
Right.
And well, I didn't plan mine um consciously. Subconsciously I blew it. But that's the thing is like you were prepared for this to happen and
Yeah.
wanted it and researched it and knew that that was the right decision for you and your family. And I kind of had to pivot to sort of meet my husband where he was comfortable because he's still
Right.
the person who believes that the hospital is the safest place.
Hmm.
So that's what made our things although at the end of the day it was like we both experienced the same amazing miraculous moment,
It
that's
still
where
is a
it's
different story.
different. And it's
Yeah.
like but they're both like such beautiful stories. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever you wanna say. I don't know, do you wanna do this another time?
I
Where are you
don't
at with,
know.
like, the babies and stuff?
Probably wrap it up soon, but we could touch on it like a little bit because I feel like it goes with the medical system trust thing. Like,
Sure.
okay, so starting out, this is not medical advice again. I'm not telling you to have a free birth. And we're not telling you to have a free birth. But for me, I guess I'll just start with my story and then we'll go from there. Like, so when I found out I was pregnant, I had heard so many traumatic stories of people in my life who had their birth go wrong here in California.
Mhm,
And it was such a wide array of things. Like if you have twins, your midwife can drop you and you go to the
mhm,
hospital. If you have
mhm,
too much water in your belly, your midwife can drop you. So my plan was
mhm,
always in my head, I'll get a midwife.
mm,
And, that's the most holistic thing. I'll be at home and have a midwife.
mhm,
Whatever that was what I thought. And I started reaching out to these midwives and just hearing these stories over and over and asking them questions like, what would you do in this instance? What would you do if I had breach? What would you do if this? And
mhm,
what if my water broke and it went past this many hours? Like all these different questions
mhm,
because I knew I did not want to birth in the hospital.
mhm,
And I just wasn't getting any answers I wanted. I was like starting to get really stressed. Like, am I going to have to go birth in another state where people aren't so like,
the
I
rules.
don't know, the rules?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the laws, like what they have to follow? And
Mhm,
I was sitting at the kitchen table with my parents I was telling them all of this. And I just looked over and I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, it's like $10,000, $15,000 to hire someone. And then they just drop you and you go to the hospital and then you have a hospital bill. It's like, it just didn't
mhm.
make sense. And my dad goes, what if you just don't have anyone? I was
Oh
like,
gosh.
hmm,
Yep.
that'd be ideal. I'd love that. Is that legal? And so that started my whole search of like looking up, is this a thing? Is this legal? Is this okay? Turns out it's totally legal. It's totally fine. There's huge droves of women doing this and turning to this because of the whole thing that I was worried about in the first
Yep,
place.
yep.
And it's something that can fit a lot of women's birth birth plan. Like, it
Yeah.
is a feasible option, and it's a normal thing that's been around since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
There weren't always midwives at every single birth, and so I had a peace from God, and I prayed about it, my husband did too, and we went for it.
Yeah.
And then I started sharing about that experience on social media because I wanted people to just hear how I was doing pregnancy different. And I think nearly everything with pregnancy I did in a different way than I had really seen from most people.
Yeah.
And you did too.
Yeah. I did. I knew when I found out that I wouldn't be doing it the traditional medical route. There was no way. And it was such a great feeling to feel so sure. And you must have been the exact same way too, just knowing I'm not going to be that person that goes to my doctor every 8 weeks and then every 6 weeks and then every 4 weeks and then every 2 weeks and then every week and then keep in touch with them and they get to
Yeah.
poke and prod and check me and I knew right away I wasn't doing that. And and not just knowing, it wasn't just like a stubborn, like, "Nobody's touching me," kinda thing. It was none of it is necessary, and I know this, and that is why. And again, like anything, it's there if I need it. I know who to call if I need, but I will not be participating in that kind of pregnancy.
Yeah.
And like you, I remember because you were pregnant before I was, and I even asked you questions like, "Are you nauseous?" or whatever, because we are just so programmed as women to just pregnancy is miserable and you're nauseated and you can't eat and your baby's not getting enough nutrition because you're throwing up all the time and you're sore and pregnancy sucks and it's such a beautiful thing
Yeah.
though but it sucks
So
and
negative. It's
and
just
so much
constant
talk
negativity.
and women just bond over these conversations, hey, which
Hmm.
bothers me because the more everyone's talking about it the more it's just happening that way. You're
Yeah.
just setting yourself up for all of it.
Creating that
uh,
reality.
yeah. But everything I would ever ask you, you'd be like, "No, I feel great. No, I feel great. No, I feel great." And I was just like, "Are you serious?" But I knew that you had the right tools. I knew you had done healing. I knew you knew how to do the emotion code and body code and all that stuff. So when you said you felt good, I believed you. But part of me was just like, there's gotta be something in your pregnancy that is like a little discomfort or maybe moody or something because regardless, your body's going through intense changes.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get through a pregnancy symptomless, but
Hmm.
also there's no need for it to be full of symptoms at all because
Yeah.
you experienced that and so did I. And and yeah, that was the next thing is like when I found out I was pregnant too, then I started going through pregnancy with no, I feel great. No, I have energy. And I was so worried. I was like, how do people be pregnant when they already have a child? Because when you're pregnant the first time, if you are feeling sick or unwell or whatever, it's like you're only taking care of yourself. You can go be in the
Yeah.
bathroom, you can go to sleep, you can go for naps, whatever. But when you have another child, you're responsible for them.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was pregnant, I had enough energy to be with my son. I got good sleeps. I woke up rested. We went out and did all the things we ever did. When I started to get bigger, I wasn't too big to walk. I wasn't in pain. So you went through pregnancy you know, with answering me in such a way when I would ask you questions. And then all of a sudden I was experiencing the same thing. And I was like,
And then we bonded over the positivity of it.
yeah, exactly. Like, no, I feel great. I feel great. And when I did have symptoms though, and it happened a couple times. I opened up the body code book, released pregnancy disconnections, and those symptoms went away almost instantly. And if anything ever came back, it was like weeks and weeks and weeks apart. It wasn't just like, "Oh, I released something, I feel great," and then the next day I felt awful again. I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling a bit nauseous," and I'd be like, "This isn't normal. This isn't how I've been feeling. I should muscle test. I wonder if there's something." And there was always something. And with these pregnancy disconnections, they can surface. You can get rid of all of them, but then a couple can surface. And I think it happened definitely 2 times throughout my pregnancy. Maybe it was 3. The first time I released quite a few, maybe 8 pregnancy disconnections. The second time it was like 1 or 2, and the last time it was like 1. And every single time, it did it for me. So anytime I had symptoms, they were so quick to be gone. And I'm so passionate about trying to teach women this because yeah, that bonding over symptoms, like, not for me. It doesn't have to be like that. You just have to have the right tools, and
Yeah.
not a lot of people wanna listen to that. I think people like the bonding over, "Oh, you were nauseous, so was I," and, "Oh, that was a terrible thing for me too,"
Yeah.
and it's like the topic of conversation when you talk about being pregnant, and you said that too. You're like, "Please don't send me things about, like, oh, just you wait until you get, to 3rd trimester, or, oh, just you
Yeah.
wait until," and it's like people just wanna scare you or upset you or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
And I remember getting really upset about it and like making reels and stories like, I'm going to block you. I'm going to block everybody who says this stuff. And I did block a lot of people. I was like, I mean, I definitely got feisty at the end because I was just sick of hearing it. People trying to tell me that because I didn't take a traditional prenatal and chose to take beef organs instead,
mhm.
that I was harming my baby. And it's like, shut up. It was just
Oh,
like,
man. So
and,
easy to clap back.
what?
It's easy to clap back
Yeah,
and be
yeah,
like, "Well, what about the way you did your pregnancy? Just hush."
yeah, that's true. But then they really do believe they did it the right way, and people
Yeah.
don't wanna admit that there was trauma. There was
Mm.
trauma in the hospital, or there was trauma, or whatever they did.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I'm really grateful for the way that our pregnancies turned out, and it's I feel like it's such an empowering topic to share with people,
Mhm.
but then it brings out a rise in people, like, they don't want to believe it's true, because then they'd have to look back and see that it could have been different for them before,
Perhaps.
and I
Or
don't. Go ahead.
or just still that mindset of, like, the hospital's the safest place. For
Yeah,
whatever the reason is that they believe it, or maybe they don't even have a reason, it's just that phrase in their subconscious mind,
yeah,
right? I feel like that was my
yeah,
husband's thing too. It's like I can't change his mind because it's so stuck in there, you know?
mhm,
Something
yeah,
about, I don't know, but and as you deep dived even more than I did, just the amount of things that are done to a pregnant woman during that sort of labor and birth, it all disrupts your delivery, and it all disrupts
mhm,
the birth. And
yeah,
I don't think a lot of women know what it's like to birth in that completely, just the baby's time, your body and your baby's timing, because no one trusts it, right?
yeah.
I mean, your labor went on for a long time, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, yeah, that was pregnancy was great, no complaints there, even though I was huge at the end. I mean, I was ginormous. I still walked every day, um, and I was good, and then I went to the beach to go walk with my parents, and we were gonna sit down on a blanket for a little bit and just enjoy the perfect day, and as I was bending down, my water broke. It was just, like, super intense and, like, "Whoa!" I was like, "That was definitely my water."
Yep.
So we drove back, I called my husband, and, in the movies, they make it seem like you have your baby right after that,
Mhm.
and I did not give birth until an exactly a week later. And I was in labor for a full week. And, the first couple days were fine. And I had so much water in there. People are like, oh, people want to say there's risk of infection. I totally went through all these things. I was like debunking,
Yeah.
I was researching so much. Like, okay, how could you get an infection? Oh, because someone would stick their hand up there to check. And like all these different things that um, would happen if you go to the hospital and your water breaks and why they say, "Bless you." Um, anyways, my water broke and I felt really confident that I could make it until baby was ready to come
Yeah.
because of everything I researched. Like, there was no way, no cause for an infection to get in there. And then with the amount of water I had, and then learning about how your body will actually produce more amniotic fluid, all these different reasons.
Yeah.
So then finally, after multiple days of really intense, grueling back labor, which later correlated it to a previous back injury,
Yeah,
she
I
popped
remember.
out. And as soon as that fetal ejection reflex kicked in,
Oh, yeah.
as soon as the real contractions started that weren't in my back, she was out in less than 30 minutes. And it was as soon as the real contractions started, the pain was completely gone. I didn't have
Yeah.
pain except for when she was coming through the birth canal, and then it was like, "Whoa." But it was the most incredible experience, and I wouldn't have done it any other way. And just that, to not have anyone interrupting, to not have anyone checking anything, and to
Mhm.
just be me and my husband was such an intimate, incredible day.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it was just amazing.
Being the first to touch your baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Should we do a part 2 maybe sometime? I would
I
love
think so. I
Okay.
think so. Okay, guys, we are actually going to wrap it up right here. I hear my baby yelling, and our voices are tired. So, thank you so much, Jen. I just want to tell people where they can find you so they can follow you. You post incredible knowledge, you post education, you share so much good stuff, and
Aw.
I want everyone to follow you. So, go to Instagram and type in at because why not two? But the why is two Y's. So, I'll make sure I link this down in the description for you. So, because WHYY, not two. And thank you so much, Jen. Yeah, I'm just so grateful that we got to talk today. It's so fun to actually see you on video and talk and share all of this incredible knowledge. Thank you for teaching and just educating. And yeah, it's
It's
been
fun.
so
I
good.
love you. Thank you for
I
having me
love
on
you
the
too.
podcast. I can't believe I did it.
I'm proud of you.
And I'll
Um, okay, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Quantum Mama podcast.